Hi folks, welcome back. Hope everybody had a great New Year's. We did. Thought we'd talk about a little bit of ham radio today. Show you some of the equipment that is used and how you use the equipment. Right now, what we've got set up for you is the meter. We're going to check the SWR on my antenna using the radio, and also we have the antenna analyzer. Now, depending on what your desire is to talk on, is you have to make sure you're on the right band, have the right meter for the right frequency. This meter here will not test 6 meters. That's 52 megahertz, 52 to 54 megahertz. And so this one here will only test 2 meter, which is 144 through 148 and 440, which is from 44.3.000 to I have to look that one up. But anyway, that's what this meter tests. But this one here will test 6 meters, but it won't test 440. So I already got set up here for low power. You can test. I like to test it 2 different ways, actually 3 different ways. This right here is on simplex frequencies. Simplex is from point A to point B, line of sight. I ain't talking about like from here to 100 feet. It will reach further than that. It could go from here to 100 miles. It all depends on the weather conditions, the frequency, your wattage, power output. But always, for a new antenna I have no idea about, I always like to start on the low power, then go to high power if everything tests okay, which this one does. But I'm in a place where we call it pick a fence. It's a hot spot. I'm down a little dip a little bit, but yet it's still in the hot spot. What I mean as in a pick a fence is like this is your 2 pick a fence post. Okay, you're into the signal strong, nothing here, you're out of it, and you're back into it. That's what I mean. If you're just walking through the yard or even driving through the yard, especially with the HT handy talkies, you could be walking, you could be into the repeater or talking simplex, and they can hear you real good, and all of a sudden you just fade out. That's what the pick a fence is. You're in, they can hear you good, and you drop out, then you come back. But saying that is saying this. Where I'm in such a hot spot, I'm going to go with low power on simplex here, because on the repeaters around here on some frequencies I can hit anywhere from 2 to 3 to 4 repeaters on one frequency, because they all they have the same tone, PL tone, and I will get in with that what the PL tone is, or they don't have the PL tone at all. And so I have to watch so I won't cause interference with anybody talking or so forth. And you do have to have ham radio license, FCC license to talk on these. And you have to take a test, and depending on what classification you want. I'm a technician, what mine is. There are several
grades
up, different classes. The general is the highest one. But anyway, and they also have done a lot of changing, and I really haven't been up on it all that well since they've done a bunch of changing. FCC has. They've done away with the code. Now, the license I hold, I don't have the code, which is CW. But anyway, we'll go on now, and I will show you how to check SWR on simplex. Okay. Like I said before, you need to make sure your meter is for what your transceiver is going to be transmitting on, what your desired frequency or band you're going to be talking on. Okay, I'm already set up for 2 meters on this side of the radio. Now we'll go through the radio here and tell you the different options it's got here in just a little bit. Alright, first you got key up. You have to calibrate it, which I already have calibrated. Flip it to SWR, and it's not even on 1.1, which that's great. Alright, and I'm going to flip it to power. That's reflective power. It don't have no reflective power because it has very little SWR. And that's the power output, which is almost 5 watts, or 5 watts. Another thing too, folks, KB8 POK for ID. Anytime you key up, you R2ID. Another thing too, folks, when you're looking at these meters, you look at them straight head on. If you look them off to the side, one way or the other, it will show you one thing and it's really not. It's the way the lens is and the way the lighting is. It looks like your needle is one place and it's not. So make sure you're looking straight into it. Okay, now you can change it, like I ain't going to do it here, but you have a pretty good example here of how you change your wattage and you calibrate it. Alright, I'm going on the other side, on the other band here, which is 440. This radio too, by the way, is 6 meters, 2 meters, and 440, and also has 10 meters, but I don't use 10 meters. I just use the 2 meter, 6 meters, and 440. But this meter here will not test 6 meters, so we will be using the antenna analyzer for that. Alright, now we're going to test the 440. And again on low power. Okay, we got to calibrate it. And the noise you may be hearing is the fan. It's got a cooling fan on it. KB8 POK Friday. Testing. It barely has any SWR. Alright, now we're going to flip it to power. Alright, the power output is about 4. Y'all probably can see better than I can. But anyway, then we flip it to reflective power, which we don't have none. KB8 POK Friday. But that's how you test it. Now, if you can look unkey before you flip them. It's probably better on the contacts actually, but that's how you do that. Alright, now I'm going to unhook this real quick and I'm going to show you how you check the SWR with the antenna analyzer. Alright, this goes to the outside antenna. Okay, folks. It's got the BL259 on it, and it's got teeth on it, and you really need to make sure it goes down in these little grooves here. Can you see that? Are you getting that, Matt?
Yeah, I got that.
I'm so messing with my cameraman today. And what you do is you just slip it right in there. Start your thread and you line them up. If it ain't turning, it means that they're lined up. Okay. I had this set up to do the 2 meter. Alright. Zero in here. This here is for your SWR. And this is for your resistance. This is your tuner. And right here is for your different frequencies, your megahertz. So we're going to be checking 6 meters, which starts at 52 megahertz. So you have to look on your scale here and flip it to that. Alright, right here's your frequencies. You can see that it's going to be going up and down the whole time. I'm not even there on ham radio yet. And you also want to test your SWR on the frequencies you're going to be transmitting on. Which it's testing perfect. Myself, I don't like anything over 1.5. You most definitely do not want above or on 3. You want it down below 3. And what I'm talking about is right here. Of course, that's way off the hand band. See where the needle is? To me, that'd be way too high, and we'll have to tune the antenna better. Anyway, the antenna is good, which I knew it was. I was just doing this to show you how it works and what some equipment's involved. But anyway, this one here won't test 440. It will just test 2 meters and 6 meters. What I use. This is my stepdad's meter. He's a general, and he does a lot of HF talking. HF stands for high frequency. He talks different places, the United States, overseas, stuff like that. For me, I'm not really in that kind of thing. I talk locally with friends, family, that kind of thing. Now, occasionally, I might, if the band is up, I will talk to Florida or something like that through the repeaters. And I will talk about that, how the repeaters work here in a minute. But anyway, this is how this works. Anyway, this is his meter. I borrowed it to show you. Alrighty, I'll hook this back up. And you don't have to tighten them up. I'm just barely snugging these with the pliers. Mainly just make sure they won't back off, because they will back off. Okay, you can get different types of antennas, which, like I said, this radio here is a quad band, and it will do 2 meter, 440, 6 meter, and 10 meters. I don't use 10 meters. Now my antennas does cover that, and I'm going to be showing you the antenna outside. I did a video here a while back, a short walkabout. I probably wasn't that good of a video. My feet got wet, got cold, so I kind of rushed it up a little bit to get inside. But anyway, you don't have to buy a store-bought antenna. You can make your own. Now, I can't take credit for this. A good friend of mine, back when I got my first got my license back in '94. A friend of mine made this for me. I had a Kenwood 241. It was just 2 meter only. This is what we call a J-pole. And this one's cut and measured just for 2 meter only. And what it is 1/2-inch copper line. And anyway, they call it J-pole because it looks like a J. Well, one way or the other, depends on how you look at it. But anyway, now I was going to clean it up for you, but it was going to take a while. And the way people steal copper and stuff, it might have been better. They were kind of dingy looking. I use this only for emergencies, what I use this for now. But anyway, a friend of mine, Jack, and I won't say his last name, but he made this for me. Kind of like a gift saying, welcome to the ham radio. And he made this for me, and I put it up on the telescope pipe, and I've used it for a long time. But anymore, I use it pretty much in case of emergency. Like if electrical storm, if I still want to talk, I will bring it inside here and hook it up to this radio. I can't talk on 6 meters 440 with it because it's not tuned in for that. But I can use it for 2 meters, and that way I don't have to worry about light running into the radio or anything like that. I can lay it across the bed here, or in the corner, or just stick it outside in the dirt. You probably can see the dirt at the very end.
Give me 1 second.
But that's from jabbing in the ground.
There we go.
And just jab it in the ground and just walk away from after you hook the coax up to it. And you when you first make these, I recommend using an antenna analyzer, because you can get that way you don't have to worry about burning your radio out. You can get it where you need to. When you make these, you have to adjust this right here to get your SWR right. And that's how you make it. Now it depends on what band you are. I made one for a feller. He's moved off somewhere. I can't remember where he moved off to. But anyway, it's a lot longer than this for 6 meters. And that's how you tune it in. As far as I know, he's still using it. But like I said, it depends on what your desire is on your frequency. Is what you depend on what you
get.
What you make your antenna for. Anyway, that's what we call a J-Paul. Of course, there's other different types of antennas too. I like the J-Pols because they work very well. Okay, now I was talking about Simplex and the repeaters. I already covered Simplex. It's pretty much line of sight, straight shot. Repeater is just like the word repeater. The repeater, you transmit on one frequency, and it will retransmit your signal on another frequency. You're using 2 different frequencies. Okay, Matt, zero in here.
There we go.
Simplex. Another thing too, if you want to check your SWR for on the repeater frequency you're using, if the repeater has a PL tone, you can go into your radio and you can cut your tone off. So it won't key up the radio. And then you can test your SWR, make sure it's okay. But anyway, I'm going to use this for example while I got the PL tone off. I ain't keying the repeater up. This is the repeater's output frequency. If somebody was talking to me, that's why I would be hearing them on. Now, for them to hear me, I key up. And Matt, are you zeroed in?
Mm-hmm.
All right. When you when you key up the radio, it transmits on another frequency. See, that's the repeater input, and it transmits back out on here, on this frequency. Switches it over, and that's where it comes across. That's what it means, repeating. All right, then after you get through testing SWR, of course, you just change it back, and it goes back to memory. Anyway, that's how the repeater how they operate. Now, the repeaters, if they have PO tone, a lot of them will have, they will ID.
Welcome to the KD4BNQ repeater, Dismal Peak, Virginia.
They will say who the repeater owner is, which I know this feller very well, Dale. And sometimes the repeater, it didn't do it this time, but the repeater will say with PL tone, this PL tone is 103.5. And sometimes they will do that, sometimes they won't. But depends on all what the repeater owner has. They will say the repeater owner's call sign and their location. And they will do it either in voice or in CW. CW is Morse code. This is CW. And it's basically saying the same thing what the other repeater is doing. It's another repeater he has. This is the 440 repeater. It's saying his call sign and the location. And that's another repeater of his. It's off the air. It's got antenna problems. But anyway, that's pretty much what the repeaters, how they operate. Now, you can use ham radio more than just to talk to friends and family and that kind of thing. They use it for emergency purposes, like if a hurricane or something comes out, wipes the power out, takes out the phone lines, the landlines. Which, if it takes out the phone lines, cell phones ain't gonna work either. A lot of people don't realize the cell phone towers are tied in with the base lines and the phone lines. So if it wipes out a tower in one place on that location, that radius, they might not be able to get a cell signal. Or if it's like a panic, like 9/11 happened, all the phone lines got jammed from. So, ham radio can be used more than just for just be able to talk, and it can use for emergency communication. What they call around here is races, races, not races, races. They take care of things in case of a disaster. Chemical, fire, or anything like that, any kind of disaster, they will come in and set up and take care of communications for people. And they will also they will have like bicycle marathons, stuff like that. And they will have checkpoints. They use ham radio for that, which they did that last summer, and things like that. Okay, folks. If you got any questions, feel free to ask. I'm sure I'm leaving something out or something, or I'm not explaining it very well. But if you have any questions, please ask me. You can even send me put in your comment or send me an email. And I will answer you best as I can. If I don't know, I'll look it up or I'll find out for you somewhere or the other. But anyway, this is a external speaker. You don't have to have this, but I like it because it sounds better. The radios, the mobile radios, got a built-in speaker, and they do fine, but I like these better. This is a Motorola. It's actually an industrial speaker. That's the courtesy beep on that repeater. And but they have a whole lot better sound to them. And
Afternoon. This is the W8MOP repeater.
see how clear it is. And but anyway, I like them better myself. And every time I get a radio or anything new, actually, I bought two of these actually back in April of 2006. Every time I get a radio or anything new, I write the month and the date and the year, And I got this back in April of 2006, which it makes it 10 years old now, or will be this April. And that way I can keep track on how long I've had it. But anyway, like I said, this is a quad band radio. Ain't nothing fancy, it's just a mobile unit, but it does what I need to do. I think back in 2006 I paid around $800 for one of these. I got one in the house here and one in my truck. I need to get one for my wife's car. She's got her ham license as well.
Yeah, and they're on the wall there.
Yeah.
You want me to zoom in on those?
You can. When you get your ham license, you're required to hang your license up above your transceiver, your radio station, where you're going to be talking from. And you will be given a FCC license call sign. And back when I got my license, back in '94, I think it took me 2 weeks to get them through the mail. But nowadays, with the internet and stuff, you can, as soon as you pass your test, I've been hearing a lot of the new hams saying they got it right there and then they seen it through. And you can start talking pretty much that day. And but anyway, this one here covers on transmitting wise. It covers 10 meters. Like I said, I don't use 10 meters. That's 28 through 29.7 megahertz. 6 meters is 50 through 54 megahertz. 2 meters is 144 through 146 megahertz. 440 is from 430 to 440 megahertz. And of course it picks up other bands as well. You just can't transmit on them. And this radio here will put out 50. The maximum it will put out is 50 watts on 2, 6, and 10 meters. Now 440, it goes from 5 to 10 to 20 to 35 watts. And you can set your wattage however you want. Like I said, I keep mine on low power for obvious reason of the repeaters around here. Some of the repeaters have the same frequency far off, and that can cause interference with them. And either they got the same PL tone or they don't have PL tone. But like I said, I'm in a hot spot. But this thing's got a lot of stuff I don't even use. You can use, of course, you have to program for whatever area you are in. Get your repeater journal, or you can look on the internet, I'm sure, and it will give you the frequencies, the shifts. Now the shifts the repeaters have a negative shift or a positive shift. Like I was talking about before about your split, from when you key up, it will the repeater hears you on and transmits on the repeater where everybody will receive you on. It has different shifts, either positive or negative, and you have your PL tones. Now your PL tones are already set in. You just have to cut it on and find the PL tone for that repeater and turn it into that to activate the repeater. If you do not have the right PL tone set for that repeater, it will not work. It will not key up the repeater. It keeps a lot of noise from getting into the repeater and so forth. Now, some of the repeaters do have where they transmit a tone back to your radio, and that will comes in real handy if you're in an area with high voltage power lines and you get a lot of frying racket. Frying racket, I mean like in background noise. And let's see, give you an example. One of the repeaters I don't pick up very well. I'm trying to find something, I can't find it.
Schizophrenia. The time is 3:02 p.m. and this is
white noise.
Repeater, power, normal.
Hear the white noise. It depends sometimes on the weather too, folks, and the conditions, and the time of day. Things will change. You get your ham radio book, which I got 2 of them down here, but a lot of things have changed since then. And ham radio has came a long way, a lot than it used to be. With the internet and such, it's really came a long way. I'm surprised I didn't get that repeater. Like I said, it depends on the conditions. Anyway, you can see here some of that noise. If you have, get a lot of frying racket,
Relative hue with coda failure departed.
you also can put National Weather Service in your radios, which you cannot transmit on that. For one thing, it's illegal, and these radios have a block on them. But anyway, that's you will. It will. If you don't have that tone in your radio, it will. The repeater will not. You will not be able to hear the repeater. But it comes in handy for that. And this is the tone right here. Matt, I guess you can zero in on it. This is where you cut it off and on at. ENC, that's your PL tone. That's completely off. Alright, that's your tone. DCS is the tone only coming into your radio to key it up only. This is both. Not only your transmitting tone, but the repeater has to transmit tone to get back into your radio. And down here is where your different tone tone frequencies. Our cat's aggravating the cameraman. Wants to be held. But right here you have different frequency tones for different. Where you can change it if you want to, or to get into the repeater that you want to get into. Like I said, if you don't have the right tone, it won't get into it. This repeater's off the air. It's got problems. I think Lightning got it. I believe it's been out since back in the summer. They haven't fixed it yet. But anyway, like I said, folks, if you have any questions whatsoever, if I'm not covering something good enough or explaining enough to you, please email me. Of course, subscribe if you haven't done so. But ask me by email or in your comments, and I will answer you, of course. But there's other types of radios and such, but this is just a mobile unit, and it does what I need for it to do. And it does not work off AC current. It's DC current only. In other words, 12 volts DC, like car battery. And what I'm running off of is a Astron power supply. Now, this is a little bit overkill for this radio, but I've had this since back when I first got my license. I think I got it either 94 or 95. I traded it to a feller named Donnie. I won't say his last name. We became real good friends, and I traded it to him for a HT, and that's how we got to know each other, actually. And I've had it since then. One time I've had one trouble with it. It popped and fixed it, and haven't had no more trouble with it ever since. And it's been a great power supply. Knock on wood, I haven't any trouble with it. Unless if I said that, I'd probably quit. But anyway, now I have a backup generator. But if before I got it, if I need to use radio, I just use a car battery, 12 volt car battery, and it works good. You can just use alligator clips or something like that. There's different ways you can do things like that. But anyway, I think I've covered everything here that I need to cover, I believe. And if you have any questions, you can ask. And if you have any more questions about the radio, please feel free to ask. This radio does a whole lot more than what I've mentioned. It does packet too. Now, what packet is uses the radio, but uses a computer, just like using the internet. Sending a message like on Facebook or Yahoo or whatever your desire is. But of course, you still have to ID and that kind of thing. Now, I never have full with packet, but it goes through a repeater just like you do a voice. And of course, if you want, you can still get your CW, your Morse code if you want to. You don't have to nowadays. They done away. FCC done away with the Morse code, trying to get more people involved in it. Like me, I don't really talk on the ham radio that much, like I like to. Most time I don't really have time to. They do like nets where you can check into, and different radio clubs. You don't have to join a radio club. You can to support the repeater owner and helps him keep the repeater stuff up and running. And I tell you, I know the repeater owners, not all of them, majority of them. Two in particular, I help out quite a bit. I climb their towers for them and do their antenna work for them. And there's a lot of people don't realize how much work goes involved. And the weather up there where these repeaters are at, folks, these antennas and equipment goes through heck. Not only in the summer where it's hot in the buildings and that kind of thing, in the wintertime with the ice, the high winds, and you really got to fix them good enough where they will last. Because during the wintertime, we have went on the mountaintop before, and it's not fun. A lot of ice, and we went up there one time to, because we have antenna trouble, and there was so much ice on the antenna and on the tower, I couldn't climb it. The repeater owner refused for me to climb it. I would tried, but I wasn't very comfortable with it. But he refused me to climb up there and work on the antenna. One thing, because I had about 2 or 3 inches ice built up on it. But we just put a temporary antenna up off to the side, just for the time being, and just to keep it on the repeater on the air. But there's a whole lot of work and stuff involved in this, and maybe this summer, or if not earlier, maybe I can go to one of the repeater sites and show you what the duplexers is and that kind of thing, and what to do. And pretty much what they do is just keep the SWR down on the repeaters. And the repeater owners, they have a choice. They can use either duplexers, which is with one antenna, or do away with the duplexers and have 2 antennas, one to receive with and one to transmit with. And you got to have them, I think, within 5 feet apart. I think they work better that way. And on the repeater towers, you have to make sure everything's tight, nothing flopping in the wind. The antenna mask is tight. The antennas ain't moving, like the hard line or the cables. If they're like my arm's the tower, if this is the cable, if it's flapping like this, you get noise on the repeaters. I mean, stuff like that. I mean, little simple, small stuff. It needs to be secured firmly, and when the wind blows, it won't move. It makes a huge difference. All kind of stuff like that. Anyway, that might be another different video. But anyway, we're going to go outside, and I'm going to show you the antenna I got. And I got back last spring, back in 2015. And like I said, it's just for 2 meter, 440, and 6 meter only. I don't use the 10 meter. But maybe I should have. I didn't even think about it at the time. I don't talk on 10 meters, but it'd be kind of fun to play with, I believe. But anyway, I think I covered everything here. So we'll go outside, and I will talk about the antenna outside. Like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And so we will journey on outside, and I will show you the antenna. Get the antenna up there. Okay, folks, this is the diamond antenna. There are different types out there, Comet and other antennas. I've just had the good luck with the diamond antennas. But this is the 6 meter, 2 meter, and 440 antenna. It's a Diamond V2000A. Covers 52 through 54 megahertz, 144 through 148 megahertz, and 440 through 450 megahertz. For all you hams out there, it make more sense to you than somebody a ham radio operator yet. So I got 2.15 dB gain on 6 meters, 6.2 dB gain on 2 meters, and 8.4 dB gain on 440. It's a 50 ohm. It covers up to 150 watts, which I don't put anything that high on it. High as I go is 50 watts when I need to. It's SWR typical. They recommend 1.5 to 1. Now the element elements there you see laying kind of horizontal, that's a 6 meter, and its wavelength is a 1/2 inch wavelength. The 2 meter wavelength and the 440 wavelength is 5/8, and it will cover up the wind gust up to 112 miles per hour. Now, if you're living on top of a mountain where it's got a lot of high winds, you may want to make sure that the antenna will handle the high miles per hour wind gust. It's 8.3 foot long, weighs about 2.5 pounds, and the connector is a 239 female. And you can get them in different places and such. If you'd like to know more about the antenna, please comment or email me, and I will send you the. If you email me, I will send you more details about how much it cost and where I got it from and that kind of thing, if you're interested, and so forth. But it's about 40 feet in the air, and it's on a telescopic pipe. I don't know if it's shown that in the camera, but actually it's on a telescopic pipe. I got it stretched out as far as I can have it. It originally was stretched out to 50 foot, but a few years ago we had a windstorm, not the ratio I filmed. It was a different windstorm. It was on a tower, and it actually blew the whole tower over, and it had bended, and I had actually shortened it up. I had to take about 10 foot out of it, where it had a real bad bend. So I just took it out, bend out, and stretch it up high as I can get it right here. And now I also got when I got this new antenna, I have bought the new cable with it, and the cable was recommended for the frequencies I use. Now I got 150 foot of cable, but I got a little bit longer than I needed just in case. But you'd be better off if you didn't get more cable than what you really need for SWR purposes. Okay, folks, like I said, if you have any questions, please email and ask me, and I'll be glad to answer you. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't done so, please do, and please give us a thumbs up. And I got some shout outs here too. Paul and Kathy Short from Canada. They're real good people, and I like their channel very well. And Steve Robb, he's got a great channel. Paul and Kathy Short does pretty much just, he does a great job on all kinds of projects. And what I like about him, he does a great job on all of his projects. Does not do any shortcuts. He does 100% and everything. He does a great job. If you haven't watched him, watch him. Paul and Kathy Short from Canada. Specialtyrepairs.ca. And Steve Robb, he's got a great channel also. He does channels. His channel is about doing other people's channels, viewing their channels, what he recommends, and what people do, and that kind of thing. So check his channel out. I will put it in my description, the link. And a friend of his too, RICKAFIX, he does some great projects too. And I've watched these guys, and man, they really do a great job. And I have came across on one here about ham radio, Mike Martin's with KB9BBR antennas. I'm going to put his link down as well. He does a lot of stuff with about ham radio, and so his channel looks like it's a real good channel also. I would just watch a couple of his, and looks very well. But I was wanting to do these other shout outs because they've done shout outs for me. Paul has, and Steve and Rick has gave me some pointers and stuff about doing these videos. I haven't been doing these videos very long, and learning all the time. And so folks, pretty much wraps it up. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care, and God bless.